All right, now, but they got us here, Albie. See, it says Allah is the Messiah, Mary's son. Booyah, booyah shakka in your face. No, this is wrong too. Do you know why it's wrong? Allah the Messiah, son of Mary? Because in Christian theology, and this is not something recent, I'm going to show you from even Muslim sources admitting that Christians were complaining against Muslims for formulating their belief this way, and a Christian reference by Nestorians before the time of Muhammad's birth that said the Messiah is God, but God is not the Messiah. You understand? Why?
Right.
In Christian terminology, it is improper to say God is the Messiah. Why? Because when you speak of God, if you mean the Father, then no, that's not the Messiah. But if you mean God as in the Godhead, then God is not the Messiah, because God is more than a Messiah. God is Father and Messiah and Spirit. This is why Christians were always clear to say, do not say God is Messiah, but say Messiah is God. Unless you think I'm making it up. Okay? Right here. Quote after quote after quote from modern Trinitarian scholars. And then I'm going to give you ancient references here. Paul Copan. Is a Trinity logical blunder? So if Allah's all-knowing and Allah knows everything, then he knows how Christians formulate their beliefs. And therefore, if he wants to attack Christian beliefs, then he'll formulate them the way they articulate them and reject them. But now he's giving Christians an excuse to say, well, Allah, you're not addressing me. Allah, you're not addressing me. And embarrassing Muslims because Allah is doing a poor job of articulating the way Christians express their beliefs, because I would say, amen, God is not the Messiah. And if you say God is the Messiah, you don't know your theology. Right on, Allah. At least here you and I agree. Here you go. Suffice it to say, no, and learn. Are you learning this, Christians? You got to learn. This is not proper Christian terminology or theology. Suffice it to say, no informed Christian would ever claim that God is Messiah or that God is a third of three, thereby implying three gods. The following scholar explains here, so you don't think I'm lying. Here. Where am I at? Right here. Third, to distinguish between person and nature, we must keep in mind two ways to use is. Identity versus predication. Like here, the verb is, you can use it to refer to the nature of something or the identity of something. I go, this man is Albert. This man is Albert. Now, is being used for identity. This man is Albert. All right. But then if I say Albert is man, now the word is being used for predication. Predication means to predicate, attribute, describe the qualities of something. You with me there, Albie?
100%.
So notice the difference. If I say, this man is Albert, now that word is identity. I'm identifying the specific man. That man there is a specific identity. He's a specific person, Albie. But if I say, Albie is man, now the word man is no longer identification. Man there is a descriptive noun. It's telling me the nature of Albie. So the verb is a predication. Everyone understand the difference?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone understand the difference?
We're with you here.
Right. We live in the wrong time, Alapanto. We needed to live at the time of the Crusades. Anyway, to give an example, Mark Twain is the pen name for Samuel Langhorne. Samuel Langhorne used the pen name Mark Twain. Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Samuel Langhorne Clemens used the name Mark Twain. So he's better known as Mark Twain. All right. The 26 cigars a day smoker and author of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Twain does not have characteristics that Clemens does not have. You understand what it means? Twain and Clemens are the same person. So whatever Clemens is, Twain is. They're the same person. So if Twain is fat, Clemens is fat. If Twain is a loser, Clemens is a loser. You get my point? They're the same person. So if you say something about Twain, you're saying something about Clemens, right? You get it, Albie?
100%.
Here, you know the character Porky Pig?
Of course.
Okay. Now, Porky Pig is another name for Anthony Rogers.
Oh.
You guys know I have to take a cheap shot. Sorry, Chris. I love you, Chris. Don't be upset. So there is not a quality that Porky Pig or Miss Picky has that Anthony Rogers doesn't have. Right? So Porky Pig is Anthony Rogers, Porky Pig, and it was predestined by his Muslim deity. I mean, I had to take a cheap shot anyway.
Yeah, so bad, bro.
Right? I know. Okay. So similarly, Twain does not have characteristics that Clemens does not have. In other words, when we say Samuel Langhorne Clemens is Mark Twain, is here is being used for identification. They have the same identity. We can just as easily reverse the names. Mark Twain is Samuel Langhorne Clemens. So you can say it in reverse, right?
Right.
Right? It would be It would be the same. Mark Twain is Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Samuel Langhorne Clemens is Mark Twain. That would be true. Each of those statements indicates identity. Mark Twain equals Samuel Langhorne Clemens, vice versa. The names which refer to the same person are fully interchangeable and thus identical. But that's not the case with the term God. Okay, watch here. When it comes to the Trinity, to say Jesus is God isn't identical to God is Jesus, you see? Unlike Mark Twain example, Jesus doesn't exhaust what it means to speak of God. Jesus and God are not identical. So you see, to say Jesus is God is right, but to say God is Jesus is wrong. So why does the Quran get it wrong? It says God is the Messiah, and we would all say, we agree that's wrong. According to the Bible, Father and the Spirit are called divine just as Jesus. In the statement Jesus God, we use is to describe or predicate. We're saying Jesus is God in nature. It's predication. Not identify or equate. You see what we're saying, right? Everyone got this?
We're with you.
And the people on TikTok getting the difference? Not TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok needs TikTok, yeah, for sure. But we're with you.
Jesus is God in that he shares in the nature that only two other persons share. So there isn't just one person who can be properly be called God. And he's not the only one. Murray J. Harris. Jesus as God, the New Testament use of theos. Murray J. Harris. Watch. The second way is to qualify the affirmation, Jesus is God, by observing that this is a non-reciprocating proposition, meaning you can't reverse it. So you can say Jesus God, but you can't say God is Jesus. Unlike Mark Twain. See over here, you could say Mark Twain is Samuel Langhorne Clemens, and Mark Twain, right, is equal to Samuel Langhorne Clemens. So you can say Mark Twain is Samuel Langhorne Clemens, or you could say Samuel Langhorne Clemens is Mark Twain, because they're the same person. So they're reciprocal. You can say it in the reverse. You can say Mark Twain is Samuel Langhorne Clemens, and then you can reverse that, say Samuel Langhorne Clemens is Mark Twain. But you can't say that with the statement Jesus is God. You can't reverse it. You can't say God is Jesus here. It's non-reciprocating. While Jesus is God, it is not true that God is Jesus. There are others of whom the predicate God may be rightfully used. The person we call Jesus does not exhaust the category of deity. Doesn't Allah know our theology? Doesn't Allah know our theology?
You would think he would.
So why does he get it wrong?